Good day everyone, I'm Jason van Heerden and I am a registered dietitian with a passion and special interest in sports nutrition. And today we are going to be continuing on our sports nutrition series with 11 Nutrition, where we're going to be talking about the supplement creatine. Let's get into it. So creatine, it is probably the world's most studied supplement, and for good reason. There's been many studies done that show the effectiveness of creatine supplementation in power output. So you can imagine a lot of people, especially in the bodybuilding industry or sports where there's a lot of pushing and pulling and forceful activities where there's a lot of power needed, creatine has been shown to be very effective across many studies. And of course, you can imagine if you're trying to build a bit of muscle and you need to, you're doing your volume, if you're focusing on volume training where, you're focusing on your reps and your sets and your weights that you're picking up, if you can increase your power output and you're getting more volume out of your sessions, that can definitely lead to help with the right overall nutrition around that as well. And those of you that are doing more anaerobic activities, is that there has actually been shown to be a slight increase in anaerobic performance as well. So anaerobic, remember, that can include like our sprints, our running sprints or our cycling sprints or those type of things. And a lot of weight training is also considered anaerobic. So now you're getting the increased benefits of power output and you're getting the slight increased benefits in general from creatine supplementation for your anaerobic activity as well. So the side effects. So I get asked a lot about creatine to ask, but Jason, what about your kidneys and what about water weight and those type of things? And we must remember that yes, if you've got kidney damage, then yes, you've got to be careful with creatine supplementation. Or another example is if you've got a medical condition where you are managing your fluid levels and balances in your body, maybe taking diuretics, you'd want to be careful. So those are the two big ones, and always consult a healthcare professional, just to check that there's no contraindications for taking it. But in general, for the adult population, there are not really been shown to be side effects. Normally where the side effects come in, so that can have some people get a bit of bloating or let's say diarrhea, and that's normally we're taking creatine, too much creatine too fast, or especially at one time. So you may have heard of the loading phase or the maintenance phase, and we'll get into that just now. But normally people taking too much creatine in a high dose at one time, that's normally where the problems come about. So you might want to then space it through the day, not have too much at one time, make sure you're drinking enough water, and normally those side effects don't really happen for the general population. So let's talk about creatine and how it actually does help the body. So remember, what we're looking for is that we're working with the phosphocreatine system. So that's basically a very short burst energy system. So with phosphocreatine, remember, creatine is actually found naturally in our bodies. It's not like caffeine that we don't have in our bodies and we introduce it, but phosphocreatine is something that we find in our body. Now, there's two main systems that we're trying to work at here. We're looking at adenosine diphosphate, meaning basically 2 phosphate groups, and adenosine triphosphate, so 3 phosphate groups. And essentially is if you want to have adenosine triphosphate, or otherwise known as ATP, that is our quick use energy that we're using in a lot of our power movements and those type of things. But when it gives off the power, the 3 phosphate groups, one of the phosphates actually break off and it becomes an inorganic phosphate. And then with ADP, and now with the inorganic phosphate, we can basically then, using a certain system, using creatine kinase, we can actually put it back together and then make ATP again, where we can use for more power. So if we've got using our phosphocreatine system more efficiently, there's more creatine in the system, normally we can have more ATP that's going to help us with that force movements over there. But with that whole process that happens, water is involved, and we normally see that creatine supplementation, normally there is a little bit of fluid retention and those type of things. So if some people do experience a little bit of puffiness, let's say in the muscles or on the face, and that's normally at the higher dosage of creatine supplementation, but that is normal. So essentially what we're trying to do is going to be with our creatine is to try and increase those creatine stores that we mentioned in the body. But that takes place over quite a long time. So I see the common mistake of people only taking creatine on days that they exercise, but actually you'd want to you have creatine every single day. So you'd want to increase that amount, and over time the amount of creatine we have in our system. And if you just do it, a standard amount, standard amount is about 5 grams a day, and you build up, you'd normally get to saturation level, and that's normally where we get the most benefit from creatine supplementation. But to kind of get shortcut us there, we normally do a loading phase. So that the general kind of rule of thumb is about 10 to 20 grams of creatine a day for the first anywhere from 5 to 7 days. So some people actually use 0.3 grams per kilogram body weight per day. This is quite a high dosage, but this has been shown to try and get those creatine levels up, higher levels in the body. And then after that, it would be 0.03 grams of creatine monohydrate per kilogram body weight per day. So that's going to be our maintenance. So we get it up to the higher levels, to our saturation phase basically, and then we're maintaining it. So even if you were to, let's say, stop training for a week, you've got a busy schedule, I still recommend to my clients that you still take that creatine monohydrate in order to keep those creatine levels in the muscles high. And the last thing I'd want to talk about with creatine is normally the argument of water. I've heard a few people say that if you take creatine, when you're done training, all the water in your muscle is going to turn into fat, or you're going to lose that muscle. That is not true. That is two different systems with regards to our fat metabolism and our protein metabolism and those type of things. So yes, you will definitely, if you're taking creatine, especially at the right dosages, you will see that your muscles will get fuller as well, but also because of the water. Also, hopefully, while training and correct nutrition, we're getting that muscle up as well. But then, yes, once you stop your creatine supplementation, you might see that the size of the muscles maybe decreases, but that is mostly due to the water levels that are now going down again in the muscles due to the creatine supplementation obviously coming down. But then the muscle that you've gained, the protein, that should still be there with the right exercise and as well with the right nutrition on that. So make sure you're drinking enough water as well in the time. As mentioned, the fluid levels can go up, and if you don't have enough fluid levels, some people again do experience some cramping, bloating, those type of things. So make sure you drink enough water. Try and have your creatine every day, depending if you're doing the loading phase or the maintenance phase. Look at the dosage that you're supposed to be having, and then yes, make sure that your nutrition is right around that, and we're hoping that you're getting the best results that you possibly can. And that is creatine in a nutshell. So guys, remember to look at the description, remember to subscribe, put the notification bell on, look at the details with regard to the website and YouTube and Instagram so that you don't miss us on social media. Visit the website, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video for 11 Nutrition. Bye for now.